So we've got our black video on the timeline, and we can see that we've got 5 seconds worth of video, and now we're going to get ready to start adding our images. But before we do that, we want to have just a little bit more black video, because eventually we're going to put some titles over the top of that, so we want to have a little bit more than 5 seconds in order to do that. So there's a couple ways to extend that, and we're going to do a real simple way, and that's right on the timeline. And but before we do that, I want you to notice here that you've got, of course, starting at 0, there's 16 seconds. But what we can do here on this timeline is we can zoom to make our time a little bit larger, to make it a little easier to navigate. And so a shortcut for doing that is just press the plus key on your keyboard. There's other ways to do it, but this is a real simple, fast way, because you'll be doing this quite a bit. You'll want to make things smaller and larger. So if I just press, that's right up next to the backspace key. And so if you take a look what's happening to my time. When we're down here at that default, it's only showing every 16 seconds. But as I zoom in, then we get a little more control. There's cutting that in half. There's 8 seconds, then 4 seconds. You can see that changing right there when I press that plus key. So giving you more control. And then, of course, our piece of black video is looking longer, but it's actually the same amount of time. It's still 5 seconds. It's just that we're zoomed into it, so it makes it larger. See, this is like we're looking at it from outer space, and then we're falling to Earth there, and it's getting bigger. And so, but you can see right there, there's 5 seconds. So still 5 seconds. So you get that size comfortable to work with, and generally when it's larger like that, it's just easier to control. So to change that, though, if we want to say, let's say we want to get 10 seconds out of that. And so one of the real simple, quick ways to do it is to take, and we're using, by the way, just like in Photoshop, the selection tool is this one right here. And notice that shortcut. Looks familiar. The letter V, just like in Photoshop. Very nice. So that tool right there, selection tool, is the one you'll be using the most, very frequently. And we can use that to move, we can move images around, move the black video around, put on different video track, but for now we're going to leave it on video track 1 starting right at 0. And then if we point right to the end, you'll see it turns to these brackets, and we can click and hold and we can drag that piece of video out, and you'll notice that there's a counter. There you go, 6 seconds, 9 frames. See that in the lower right of that video clip? Okay, it's showing that we're adding. We were at 5. There's our default 5, and now it's got a plus. We go beyond that, it's going minus. But we're going to take that out to just about 10 seconds. So let me see. There we go. 10 and 3. There it is. 10 seconds and no frames. So there's 10 seconds of video. So that's going to make things just a little bit easier to work with. Now we've got 10 seconds of video. I'm going to go ahead and press that and minimize that a little bit so I have some room to work with. And at this point, of course, my image is going to get in the way there. That's all right. So what you're going to do here, and once you do this 1 time, you can do it 2 times. Just a matter of repeating. So take a look at folder or bin number 1, the opening images, and drop that triangle down. And we've got a couple different images here. Now you don't need to use every one of these, but let's double click and preview and see what we have here. There's that one. And that's the one I think we're going to use, right? Yeah, we want that one right there. Lava beds. That's a nice way to start our little video. So, once again, we could take and drag it from here down to here, like so. And I just noticed this certainly looks like it's more. I think I added, oh, it's 15, so I added too much time there. We want this thing to be 10 seconds, not, I added 10 seconds. So, I need to bring this back. Where did that put me? Let's see. I'm looking right up here. I'm at 9 seconds and 6 frames. Let's add a little bit more there. Well, you know, this might be a good time to show you just a more precise way to do this. Yeah, I'm going to hold off on that. We'll do that later. Close enough. It's about 10 seconds. And if I really want to get after it, I can zoom in some more so I can see that 10-second marker. There we go. Minimize a little bit. Sorry about that delay there. Anyway, back to our picture. We could take that picture and drop it right next to it like that. And once again, when you do that, you will see this little snap. That triangle tells us, see that little triangle show up, that white triangle, and then we can release. And that shows us that it's locked right next to it. You want to be careful that you don't do something like this. If you take and put it over the top of that black video, it'll actually erase that piece of black video and overlay the new image, which is not what we want to do. I'm going to press Control-Z to undo that. And so that's called a snap. If that's not happening, be sure to ask your instructor about getting that set correctly. Snap. That should be selected. So hopefully you haven't inadvertently clicked that. You know, it's just like in Photoshop. You want to be real careful about random clicking. That'll get you into a lot of trouble. So snap that right next to it. And then we can go to our next set of images, and let's see what we have here. We're going to pick something here. Actually, these are all pretty nice. I think I might just grab, oh, that's nice. Yep. I think what I'm going to do is, I think I'll start with this long shot here. Let me see here. That one. This is what we call a long, wide shot there. Now, instead of dragging it from here, you could just drag it from right in this location right here and drag it right to your timeline. Now, something I had not mentioned, there's a good chance that the images that you're looking at look something like that. You might have some thumbnails. You can change these views, and I should have covered that back in that earlier video. I forgot about that. I have mine set up as a list view right there, and I generally don't look at thumbnails, but you can certainly preview the thumbnails. The other views that you can look at here, I can show an icon. Generally, I don't like this. I think it's just real busy. It tends to drive me nuts. I mean, you can do it this way if you want. So I would say experiment with that, however you want to look at those. And I'm going to put it back to the list view. And you could have that little icon there. It does help, a little thumbnail, just to give you a quick view there. Then you could just take these images and drag them directly and put them right next to each other. And so in this particular lesson, what you're going to do is go through each of these folders and just get your timeline lined up like that. Start building a movie. And then you'll notice that once you do that, there's the first image. And this is called scrubbing, by the way, like scrubbing dishes. You hold that CTI, the current time indicator, and move through the timeline. So see if you can go through, do that, and line up several of your images. You don't have to use every one of these like caves. I gave you quite a few. But go through, look at them, pick the ones you want. That's up to you. Get a couple of them from each category. And we'll just build ourselves a short little movie, and then in the next lesson, we'll look at doing some adjustments to these images and some different effects that we can use. Add some visual interest. Be sure to ask any questions of your advisor or your instructor as he roams about the room helping you build your first movie in Adobe Premiere Pro.